Last time on Exceeding the Crown.
I don't want anybody
Mm.
to ever have to find out what that feels like. I wouldn't wish that on anyone.
Mm.
No, no parent should ever have to find out what that feels like.
Mm.
That's been the hardest part. That's been the biggest struggle.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Exceeding the Crown. And listen, pause. If you have not watched Fatherhood After Divorce Part 1, I need you to put this on pause and go back and watch Part 1. Because right now, we are about to get into Part 2 of Fatherhood After Divorce. So, let's go.
And there's no replacement for that. There's just not. By and large, for the most part, we as humans, we get one mother, one father,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't get another one. There's just no replacement. There's no substitute for either one. So I think I'm not sure if that's quite where you were going with that question, but
Do you feel like that's misunderstood? Like, from your point of view, what we see as society, you know other divorced men, I know other divorced women.
Yeah.
And of course, in my experience, I've definitely talked to more divorced mothers than divorced fathers.
Sure,
So
sure.
that's why this podcast, especially this episode, is so critical, because I don't feel like there has been a lot of times where I'm like, let me talk to the father from the father's point of view, right?
Yeah.
I talked to moms and what we're going through and how we feel and our frustrations. So do you feel like that is overlooked? Do you feel like...
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I do. And I think we see it, kind of manifest itself even in the court systems and family court. I mean, the emphasis is typically, placed on the mother.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that should not be the case, but I think in doing that, something's got to give. I mean, and so I think it's in a lot of cases, it's the father that, when it comes to the well-being of the children, the mother is, I don't want to say more favored, but the emphasis is definitely placed on the mother.
Yeah.
And I think in that, the fathers end up getting overlooked, and their role in their child's life ends up getting overlooked.
You tried to say that very nicely, and it's okay. I will say it for you. Most of the times in court situations, it's about the mom. Yeah. You said it very nicely. It's okay. I got you. It's almost like the courts are set up for the mom.
I can't speak for other states. I can speak for my experience in the state of Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. It's okay.
Yeah.
I'll say it for you. You ain't got to be scared. I said it.
Who said I was scared?
He ain't never scared. No, because I will say, I have been able to meet dads where you do see that they are present. They want to be there. And it does feel like they were screwed over.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to child support and things like that.
See, and I think that's a good point too. And if you don't mind, I want to, kind of dig into that one just a little bit. That's right. I'm the talent.
Yeah.
No, I think that is a really important point to bring up, because I think in a lot of cases, the good dads of the world are paying for the sins of others.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of like child support regulations and laws, divorce laws, a lot of that was born from, excuse the language, but from shitty dads.
Yeah.
And so we end up, kind of bearing the brunt of that and having to carry that load.
No, that's a real thing. And we cannot say that every mom is a good mom.
No.
Like, we cannot say that every mom deserves to have the kids full time.
Right.
There are plenty of situations where I would be like, them kids need to go with their daddy. But because of the court situations, it's like the mom gets the kids. And I'm sure you've heard of, not every mom is doing the great things with child support. You have moms that are, then you have some that aren't. So it's like in those situations where you do have a good dad with a not so great mom, why doesn't the dad have the children? And it's like, because, well, the courts is often set up. I'll say often, so y'all don't come for me, okay? I didn't say in every situation.
Yeah, don't come for me either, because Brittany said it. I didn't say anything.
Don't come for Matt, and don't come for me. Often in situations where it is set up for the mom, which is poo-boo.
Yeah. And I think part of that too is kind of, based on, more traditional societal norms. And so it's not like it's not to be expected. I wish there was a way that things could be a little more balanced.
Yeah.
Life's about balance.
It is.
Why can't it be a little more balanced?
Why can't it be? For me, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a judge, I don't know all the laws, but I often wonder why we don't start at 50-50.
Yeah. In my particular case, I think it's the logistics that
Yes.
that are the most difficult obstacle to overcome. Because if I could reasonably, get my daughter to school and pick her up from school every day, then that would be the case.
It makes no sense. Why would it be 50-50?
Right.
Yeah.
And so it would, be week on, week off, whatever. Not week off, but you know what I mean. But yeah, just because of the distance, it's just not logistically feasible to do that. Yeah. And so that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah. I believe courts can at least start there. We can start at 50-50, and if we talk about the logistics and it doesn't work, but I know people they live in the same city. They live in it's still like 70-30, 75. I'm like,
yeah,
I'm so confused.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that maybe one of the parents they don't want to be present. We're not talking about that. We're talking about good moms and good dads, people, okay? That's what we're talking.
Yeah.
Don't come for me.
Well, if you think about it too, talking about the percentages, pretty much every lawyer, every judge, they went to college and went to law school. They probably didn't get a degree in math. So,
oh, wow. Okay.
So
yeah.
they're not like,
mathematicians. Yeah,
no,
they're not
no,
that.
They're not. No. So just saying.
Yeah, you're right.
No offense to any of my attorney friends.
Judges.
And judges. Yeah. So I definitely
sorry.
don't want to offend the judges.
Yeah, please, especially if I end up in court. Okay, so what do you wish mothers understood about the emotional toll?
I think it kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier, with that adjustment, not adjustment, of going from seeing your child, every day of their life to, basically getting, a weekend out of every 2 weeks. That I think that again, it's not something that you can understand how it feels until you've lived it. But at the same time, again, I don't ever want anybody to have to find out what that feels like. So I think that's a big part of it. For me anyway, that's, has definitely been the biggest emotional toll on me, is the change in the amount of time I get to spend with my daughter, because she means the world to me. So
that's your baby.
That's my baby.
You're right. There's no way, especially as a mom, and I'm the mom that has the kids 70-something% of the time. I can't imagine.
Right.
I can't imagine. I can sympathize a little bit,
sure,
like a tiny speck of a bit, because I remember the first weekend of not having them. I went through it. I was like, "What is this? What?" So to have to imagine that level of grief, that level of heartbreak, 70% of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is going to sound weird.
Okay.
So just go with me for a second.
Okay.
It's almost like you want to bring somebody along with you to feel that just for a little bit, just so they get
a
taste of how. But then at the same time, you're like, no, that's awful.
That's rude.
Right. That's rude. I'm not gonna. And again, I don't want anyone to have to find out what that feels like, because it's not a good feeling at all.
How do you feel, or how do you feel like women can maybe better support? And I don't, not necessarily like in a relationship, right? But how do I say this? I'm going to have strong feelings about certain things because I'm the mom with the kids most of the time.
Sure.
So I'm going to have my hurt, my frustrations are completely different than yours. But I do believe in birds of a feather flock together, right? So most of the single moms I hang out with understand where I am.
Right.
I don't feel like I am very with fathers, right? But I can't empathize. I can't. So there can be blind spots that I have. And I will there are plenty of blind spots that I have. So with those blind spots, how do you feel like mothers that are like me can better support, or maybe better sympathize, or show grace a little bit more in certain things?
Yeah. I think probably the easiest answer to that question is, I think it all kind of comes back to communication and good communication. Definitely grace, because there's, sometimes communication is hard. And so there's got to be a little bit of grace, built into it as well. But yeah, I think the better that we as men and women can communicate to each other. Yeah, I'm actually going to kind of flip it around and say that, and I may touch on this again a little bit later, but I'll flip it around a little bit and say that, we as men, we don't do a very good job of talking about our feelings or our emotions. I know that's like the most shockingly profound statement I could make today. Like, men don't talk about their feelings, because we generally don't. And so, I mean, the advice that I would give, or the encouragement that I would give to, especially to the men that are listening to this, people are not mind readers. Like women have a lot of superpowers, and I see it all the time. But mind reading is not one of them. And so if I can't hold everything in and not even give a tiny little snippet of what I'm thinking or how I'm feeling, and expect anybody to know that. And so I think that's a big part of it too. I think men need to be a little more open and even a little more vulnerable. Because vulnerability does not equate to weakness. No. It just doesn't. Those are two very different things. Yeah. But I think society-wise, we kind of conflate the two. That if I show a little bit of vulnerability, I'm going to look weak.
Yeah.
No, that's not it.
Yeah.
You're we'll get into that one maybe a little bit more in a little bit. But yeah, I think those definitely communication, and having good, open, honest communication from both sides would help. And I think that men really need to be more willing to open up and talk about what's going on the inside.
Yeah.
And then for the women, how they could help. definitely the grace is very helpful, because especially, you know, in the early days, and if it's a man that is historically not talked about his feelings or you know what he's thinking, it's going to be hard for him. And so, you know, give him you know, a little bit of grace, a little bit of space to kind of, I don't want to say stumble through it, but yeah, maybe, you know, stumble through it, you know, at least initially, and then hopefully it'll get a little bit easier and a little bit better over time.
Yeah. Do you think, because I would say what I'm feeling right now, I'm like, definitely also like if when the other parent is being vulnerable, being able to hold space without feeling attacked, because maybe something that does feel like they're being vulnerable about or honest about can feel like an attack, right?
Sure.
If he's like, I don't like da 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 da, I'm like, whoa, don't come for me, right? And then you react, rather than hearing that this is hurt, not an attack. How would you say to approach? Because then we're also talking about most people don't have a very nice divorce. So let's also put that in there, right? So we're talking about emotions and being vulnerable, and we're all going to move towards healthy, but most people don't get a divorce because everything was great and we just seen our different ways and we walked away, right?
Yeah.
So now you're talking about being vulnerable or being honest with your emotions towards somebody that you have a level of hostility towards.
Oh yeah. Oh, I didn't say it was going to be easy.
No, I know. For the sake of your child, right?
That's the key right there.
Yeah.
Once the divorce is done, like, you know, two people joined as one, you're back to being, you know, two people as individuals again. The only thing that continues to connect you in any kind of way is the child or the children. That needs to be the priority, and that needs to be the focus. There's people, and I've seen it, you know, kind of one extreme to the other. I've seen some folks that, you know, do a really good job of setting aside, you know, personal feelings towards an ex and keeping the children at the forefront. And then I've seen the other end of that spectrum where the children end up being the ones that take the brunt of it because the parents can't figure out how to, you know, get past that, you know, and they continue to, you know, seemingly inflict harm on each other, but what it ultimately does is harm the child. I think you've probably seen that a lot too, in both cases, you know, good and bad. And so I think, yeah, I don't know how do you get somebody to gain maturity
and healthy boundaries.
That too, definitely. And when I say maturity, I mean in like, there's a certain level of maturity that you have to be able to set aside personal feelings about somebody for the sake of the child. And I'm not saying I'm perfect at it. I'm absolutely not. But that is what I try to keep at the forefront of my mind when things come up, is, you know, it's what's best for my daughter.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, sometimes there's been cases where, you know, what's best for my daughter may not even be the thing that I agreed with. And I've learned, you know, I've actually learned some pretty good lessons out of that. That, oh, okay, well, I will continue to be, you know, open-minded about things because I don't know everything. And, you know, just because I don't agree with it doesn't make it less right.
Are you able to speak of any of those learning moments?
I was trying to think of a good example. Let's come back to that one. I don't have a good concrete example right off the top of my head. but I'll think about it.
Okay. So this was 4 years ago, right? 4 years ago?
Yeah. So we separated, and, when I left to essentially when I left to go to Germany, we were, physically separated. And then, um, by August, we were, on the path to divorce. So that was August of 22. My divorce was finalized a little over a year later. It was finalized in early September of 23. And it wasn't a particularly ugly divorce, but it was complex and complicated for a variety of reasons. Some that didn't really have, some didn't have really anything to do with the divorce or our relationship at all. It just took a while to get everything like done.
So I have a question, and I hope it's not a too strong of a question. Okay, but it's something that just came to me.
I can't wait.
So you talked about the fact that as a dad, you never become adjusted to it. Okay.
I will say it's gotten easier over time.
Okay. How do I want to say this right? Maybe I should just say it and then try to clean it up. No, because then y'all gonna come for me. What I've noticed from the mother part is that while
I got to get a sip of water for this.
Okay, yeah, because I'm trying to get it right. I'm trying to get it right. While the children I'm gonna say the parent that's on the less than 70% side, it feels like they become used to it. It's normal to not have them in your physical presence. How do you that is a reality, right?
It is. Yeah.
That's their new normal.
Yeah.
And they're not going to feel your emotions. They're going to feel their emotions.
Yep.
How do you the way it's sounding in my mind, I feel like when it comes out, it's going to sound crazy. Okay. So please don't hate me, Matt. Okay.
I could never hate you.
Okay. How do you handle the idea that your daughter or that the kids become used to you not being there?
That definitely weighs on my mind, and it ties.
Do you hear what I'm saying?
I do.
Okay.
I understand exactly what you're saying. And I think that's a good question. That is a good, strong, but solid question to ask, especially of the parent who's in the lesser than 50% category. I think for me, there's only so much that I can control in that scenario. What I can do is be present, be readily available, be loving, supportive, communicative, letting her know that, communication lines are always open. All of those things. Because do I take it personally? Sometimes, oh yeah, absolutely I do. But, and it does weigh on my mind. Like, I don't think anybody ever wakes up in the morning and says, you know what, I think I'd like to be forgotten about today.
Yeah.
Nobody does that. And so I think you have to kind of treat it like you treat the non-adjustment. you just have to do the best you can with it. And that, I think that looks probably different for everybody. Yeah, you just gotta, just gotta do the best you can with it.
Yeah.
And make the best of it.
Yeah. That feels tough, especially when you start getting into like the other parent, like as a mom, like having another partner, right? Like, how do you maintain, or how you can maybe even speak to this? How does the mother help maintain the importance of your presence?
I'm gonna sit on that one.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna sit on that one.
That's, I be getting deep sometimes, and I need to apologize. Okay. So from anybody that's maybe going through, right, through this right now, right? Maybe they just got the news. What would be your hindsight 2020 from Matt then to Matt now? What would be your advice to them? I won't say to make it easier, because I don't really think that's really such a thing, but to make it upholding, to help them get through some of the hard moments that you had to struggle through, in more of a maybe a whole state of mind, maybe mentally better a little bit.
Yeah.
It's not easy. No divorce is easy.
Mm-mm.
But if you could go back and you could, like right now, you're mentoring other young men that are, what would you tell them?
I would actually, there's two things that I would say. Actually, no, we'll take that back. I have three things to say. First one, don't give up. Ever. Never, ever give up. Second thing is, it will get easier. It does get better. You can't see that now. You won't be able to see that now, but it does get better. And this last thing, you really are not going to be able to see this right now, but I had somebody tell me this in the very early days after my divorce, and they were 100% right, because they told me this, and before they told me, they said, you're not going to be able to see this now, but I want you to hold on to it, because there's going to come a day when you're going to be able to see it, and it's going to make sense. And I was like, oh, okay, whatever. Yeah. And what they told me was that someday you will be able to view this as something that happened for you, not something that happened to you. They were absolutely right. As soon as he said it, I was like, yeah, I can't see that right now. But, 3 years and some change, removed. Yeah. I see that.
Really?
I see that as clear as you're sitting in front of me right now. Oh, yeah. That's just my experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just my experience. But yeah.
Can we get into that?
If you want. I mean, I'm the talent, but it's your podcast.
I mean, you're right. This is all about Matt. When somebody says this to you, you're taking it with you and you're unconscious. When was that moment where you were like, they're right?
Oh. I don't know if I remember the exact moment.
Okay.
But I do remember those words popping up in a reflection. I'm a reflective person. Mm-hmm. Ask anybody that knows me. I'm constantly like reflecting on things that have happened in the past, things that are going on right now. Just trying to, not so much analyze all the time. I mean, well, yeah, there is a good bit of analysis that goes in with it, but just, I like to think things through and think about things and think about the way that I think about things. Mm-hmm. And so I remember those words, popping up in a reflection, and it was just kind of a light bulb moment. And I was like, wow, yep, I see it now. I couldn't see it then, but I see it now. Yeah, see it now.
Even with all of the way you feel about the adjustment, the way you can still stand in that as your truth.
Mm-hmm. I can. And there's reasons why that I would like to not get into.
We don't have to do that
right now, but yeah. And I don't want to be one of those people that says, look, tells the audience, no, I'm not going to tell you why, but you just trust that I know what I'm talking about. No, that you don't have to believe me. I hope you do, because I like to think of myself as an honest and truthful person. And I truly hope that, if your situation were anything like mine, where decisions were made that were outside of, that had a deep and lasting impact on you, but that you had no part in making that decision, I hope they would listen to those words and take some comfort in them, and know that there's going to come a day where you can see that, as bad as it sucks right now, that this is something that happened for you for a bigger and better purpose for your life.
Wow.
So, and there's a lot of faith and my faith that's baked into that as well. As a matter of fact, it kind of stands to reason it was a chaplain that actually told me that.
Oh, well, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's a great way to end this. That it's not something that happened to you.
No, I want to keep going.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding.
I just let me come up with some more questions. No. I mean, I'm going to let you sit on the other one for a little bit.
Okay.
And we'll come back at some other point.
Okay.
But I didn't forget.
Okay.
But I'm going to let you keep sitting.
Okay.
Okay. So we will be back to that question. But for anybody that's watched, thank you so much for watching. This is our first male interview. And
setting the bar low, Brittany.
That's not true, man. That's not. Oh my gosh. Don't do that. I'm more than positive that there are going to be not just males, because most of my audience is female. So I'm really hoping that from this, that the women get to see the other perspective, right? The perspective that we often don't talk about. We don't question and things like that.
Tell me more about this audience.
My audience?
Yeah. Are they, any of them single? Good looking? I'm kidding.
I'm sure. I have a very beautiful audience.
Of course.
So
of course
beautiful.
You do. A beautiful podcast host has to have a beautiful audience.
Beautiful audience. Matt is single. And introspective. So if you don't come correct, don't come at all. Amen. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to double tap that one.
Okay. You're not even letting me end the podcast, man.
I'm sorry.
I hope you guys were able to really, I don't even know what I'm talking about. It was a great podcast. Hope you guys were able to learn something and be able to reflect. And hopefully this helps your co-parenting and your own healthy boundaries as we see what it's like to be a father after divorce. So until next time, see y'all later. Bye.